lead up to opening day is often more exciting and intense than the season itself. Every hope is still alive and on the table. The setbacks have not come, the bucks have not disappeared, options abound. It is a time of optimism and excitement that is undiluted by disappointments. We are getting ready to board the roller coaster, one that can give and take joy without a moment's notice. But for now, the world is perfect. October cold fronts are the key to early season success, and the first one arrived in the Midwest as if on cue. Northern Missouri bow hunter Rick Knuckle checks his cameras only to find that his #1 buck was daylight active within the past 24 hours. It is time to make the move.
Hey guys, it is October 1st. We are heading out for an evening hunt over some big and beastie brassicas. They have been tearing it up with this cold front moving through. Got 2 shooters last night that came through pretty close to the redneck blind. So we're gonna give it a go. We're getting in there early, and we're hoping that they stick to this movement, because there's a big old 8-pointer that I think is 6 years old. We called him Worm last year. Going in, we feel confident that there's a good chance we'll see a big buck. I mean, high pressure, cold front moved through, and we got a good spot. So we'll see what happens tonight, man. All right, guys. Yesterday when that buck came through, it looks like he came through from the BR north, and our wind's blowing this direction. So if he comes from that direction, I have a hard time catching our wind. That's the buck we're after. It's a big old 8-point. He'd be a fun one to kill. So got Joe behind the camera. We're gonna see if we can make it happen tonight. There's a deer. It's a buck. Very good buck. It's getting this way. Honestly, I can't even get him. Where's he at? Yeah, well, he's gonna be in this window in about 2 seconds. That's him, yeah. It's definitely him. Oh, back. It's a liver hit. Dang it. Forgot to settle in. Not happy about the shot. But I'm pretty sure we'll find him in his body cavity, just a little bit back. Just shot the big 8-point. I'm pretty sure this is the buck last year that my dad had all the encounters with. We waited for a good cold front, and we waited for him to show up on pictures. He just showed up last night. Was the first time I got a picture of this deer, and tonight we came in, slipped in, and just made it happen on him.
Chasing November is brought to you by Easton Arrows, Redneck Blinds, Muddy Trail Cameras, Fuse Accessories, and Hoyt Archery. Rick and Joe were hunting out of a redneck blind when they shot worm. A couple of features came into play. First was the mesh window kit, which allowed them to see out and see the deer approaching without the deer being able to see in. Second was the large front window, which allowed plenty of room to get a clean bow shot. We deal with string jumping all the time when hunting whitetails. There's really only 2 ways to beat it. Well, 3 ways. You can aim low, but also it helps to have a fast bow that gets the arrow there quick, but is also quiet. And those are 2 features that we really love from our Hoyt bows. I shoot a 5-pin fuse sight, which is sighted 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And though I've never taken a 60-yard shot at a deer, I have taken shots in the 40 to 50, the 40-yard plus range. and having a smaller pin diameter that's really bright allows you to make precise shots even at these longer distances. The Muddy ProCam 10 is a very affordable camera that's ideal for people who don't need a fast trigger time on their cameras. And this might be a situation where you've got the camera set up over a water hole, over a mineral lick, even over a bait site, where the deer aren't necessarily moving, where you have to catch them as they're moving through an opening. But you can take advantage of the lower priced unit in situations where you don't have to capture a moving deer.
You ready? Yep. Let's do it. Well, we're back at it. It's early next morning, and had a long night last night, or a short night, however you want to look at it. Got a couple hours of sleep. I was looking at that arrow. It was definitely that dark red blood, and the liver is full of dark red blood because it's not oxygenated, and with liver usually six hours they're dead, and that's what we're hoping for this morning, to go in there, find him in his bed, and then celebrate. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a little bit. It's blood up. Maybe. Yep. Oh my goodness. That's not, I mean, the blind's 80 yards away. My deer's laying right there. Unbelievable. Center of the cavity like we talked about. So that's where it came out. Well, it was a short recovery this morning. We walked right up on him. He was only 80 yards from where I shot him. And definitely a liver hit. He looked at the shot angle. It came out. Just kind of a overall feeling of respect for this animal is what I have right now. It's when you get an animal that you've pursued for several years and you finally make it happen on them, it just feels really good. But there's also kind of that little bit of sadness that comes knowing that this buck's not going to be out there anymore. I mean, my dad had several encounters last year with this buck, and I think it's a buck that my wife even passed up several years ago during muzzleloading season. So a lot of history with this guy, and he's definitely been a homeboy on the farm. We call him Worm. He's got these little turn at the end of his beams, turn up and down, and so started calling him Worm last year. And yesterday I came in, checked trail cameras. The night before we hunted him, he was on there and had come by the trail camera at 6 o'clock, and I told Joe, we got to go after him. I mean, I'm just excited, humbled, and it feels good to be behind a big Missouri buck this early.
Well, it's about 5 o'clock, and we're just finally getting set up in the tree. It's a typical opening day, just trying to get everything sorted out, get back into the routine. We're actually just doe hunting tonight. This is a farm that has way too many does on it.
It's early October, and I know George Brett's alive because the neighbor has been sharing pictures, but to this point, I haven't gotten any. So I'm going to spend some time at some different farms doing doe management.
First arrow release of the year. That was fun. First deer of the year. Hopefully she's not too far, and hopefully another one comes out before it gets too dark here.
Well, it's Saturday, October 3rd. Jared and I got out to the farm, my new farm, this afternoon. First doe just stepped out. We're hunting over some alfalfa with a northeast wind. I'm going to keep this interview short. We're just going to see if this doe makes her way up here. We're going to shoot a doe if we can, and I got a bunch of mature bucks feeding in this alfalfa right now, so hopefully one of those guys will show up too. First doe down on the farm. One of my goals this year is to reduce the doe numbers. We have a really high deer density here, so Jared and I went and bought 6 or 7 doe tags today, and we're just going to try to get as many as we can taken care of early. Made a good shot on her. I don't think she'll go very far. does. That's number 2 down. We're just about out of light here, but we've probably seen 11 or 12 bucks so far. They're really feeling frisky, this cool weather. They're playing out in the alfalfa, chasing the does around, messing around. We'll sit here for a few more minutes, see if we can't get a mature buck to at least let us get some video. The movement's really good. We'll just sit here till dark and then go recover the 2 does.
Chasing November is also brought to you by Scott Archery, Realtree, and Cabela's.
The Cabela's Stalker Sling Pack is also a great choice for the public land hunter. It's very light and roomy, easy to pack in long distances, and it hangs in the tree without taking up a ton of room. We'll also use it when we're out running trail cameras because a laptop computer fits perfectly in the side pouch.
A lot of the sponsors that we use on Chasing November in Midwest Whitetail are products that I've used for a long, long time and believe in. A major one of these is the Scott releases. I started shooting Scott back in 1990. They've never let me down. They're super reliable, and I think that's the most important thing that a release aid can do. And you can definitely trust a Scott to work every time. I started in the hunting industry as an outdoor writer way back in 1991, and since the start, I've been using Realtree camouflage. And the main reason is when you're in a tree stand, you're on the front of the tree usually, and the deer can see you up there if you aren't well concealed. The Realtree patterns are open enough that they blend into a wide range of backgrounds, which allows me to stay hidden even when you've got wary deer within close range. Though Eric and John have focused their combined efforts on a great 40-acre farm, Eric has a plan B for his 2015 season, and it proves to be better than he expected.
Well, today's October 4th. Zach and I are doing a hanging hunt today. I checked the camera this morning and had a huge surprise on it. Zach and I got a lot of work to do, but we're going to be in the tree pretty soon. We finally got the stand set up, and it actually went really good. I love these vantage stands for these hanging hunts. John and I use them a lot just for camera stands because they're so portable. You can put your bracket in any tree and then, bump your stands around from tree to tree for a camera stand. But for these hanging hunts, they're awesome. You just come up here, slap your bracket on, and the stand's good to go in a few seconds. So we're up here, and the setup is there's a really big cornfield off here to my right. As you can see off to my left, there's a big pasture, and there's a real gnarly ditch that runs through it. That gets real thick in there, and the deer are bedding on the sides of that ditch. I'm anticipating that if we see a buck tonight, it's going to work his way up out of this ditch to make his way through this open gate out into feeding in the corn. I can't wait. It feels right.
It's funny how quickly things change. I had all but written off the property behind my house, but when I checked the cameras and saw at least 3 shooter bucks, my season was suddenly heading in a different direction. 4 days later, I'm back in the same stand and have an incredible hunt. The first buck out is a familiar deer that I call Joker. At the same time he was feeding in the corn, I look over and see the biggest buck on the farm appear out of the thick cover. It was the Big 9. Even though he didn't come through the open gate, it was exciting to see my #1 target buck on his feet during daylight hours this early in the season. The next day a cold front is moving through the area and I have the right wind I need to head back into the open gate stand.
Today's October 9th, and I'm back in the same spot that I've sat the first 4 sits of the year. And pretty much my strategy for the first week of the season has been to wait for a northerly wind on a high pressure day. So we've really been watching that barometric pressure, and yesterday was the front end of a cold front. Even though it was 80 degrees, the cold front was coming in last night. Now today is the first day that the temperature has dropped. It's in the mid-50s today, upper 50s. And we're hoping that that's going to have the deer on their feet. We're going to sit back, we got a few hours of daylight left, and hopefully one of those bucks walks through this gate.
"25 miles to the west of Eric, Caleb and Taylor Byers set out to hunt a buck they have nicknamed Minnie. Sometimes names are misleading, as this deer is anything but small.
It is October 9th today, and it is actually the first time we've been out this season. I slipped in here earlier today and pulled the card out of this camera. And we had Minnie in here the last 5 out of the last 8 days in daylight. So we're actually coming up in here with high hopes. There's a cold front that just blew in, and it's about a 20-degree difference from yesterday. So with the cold front blowing in, we think we have a very good shot at killing him. He's been coming out on that end of the field and feeding this way, and it seems to be the last 30 minutes of daylight, and he doesn't seem to be working down here until almost last light. So we're hoping he comes out a little bit earlier with the cold front. That way we have a better opportunity to harvest this deer. Hopefully we can get an early season buck down.
Back on Eric's farm, the action is heating up.
There he is right there. Good, I see him. Good buck, I see him. Just grab that. Wait till he gets behind something. Okay. Wait. No. Don't touch it. Here he comes. He's quartering pretty hard here. Wait, don't shoot. Don't shoot. Wait, just wait. He's quartering really hard right there. Wait until I tell you. Okay. I don't know how I shot high on him, but I shot right over his back. I can't believe it. Man, that was a good buck.
Do you remember the roller coaster? The same cold front that brought Eric his first shot of the season is urging the bucks in Caleb's area to abandon their usual caution and feed in daylight.
Haven't seen a deer all night, but the buck we're hunting just stepped out, and he's at 75 right now. But what he normally does is feeds out over there for a little bit, and then he'll kind of come over here and work this edge, and then come, and there's a scrape that he works over right here. So that's what we're hoping he does tonight, but we're hoping he does it with a little more daylight than what he normally does. So he's out plenty early, so fingers crossed it'll work his way Minnie did end up working his way over here. So we're assuming he went up to the bean field. So for the first time out, I mean, we started with a bang. Hopefully we can stay on that deer and keep hunting. As long as he stays on this pattern, I mean, he's bound to make a mistake. If we don't scare him walking in and out, I mean, I think we have a decent chance of killing that deer this year. So, yeah, good job.
Chasing November is also brought to you by Frigid Forage, Muddy Outdoors, Ozonics, and Trophy Rock. After picking up a new farm during the off-season, Caleb and Taylor set up a number of mineral sites using their Trophy Rock. This allows them to map out where the bucks are located and gives them a head start going into the season. Caleb and Taylor were hunting over a pure Trophy Clover blend food plot from Frigid Forage, and clover is the perfect choice for these small plots that receive a lot of deer pressure. It's nice to have something that's really attractive, but if it's gone before the season even arrives, it doesn't do you much good. The pure Trophy Clover blend will definitely hold up to deer pressure and will be there when you need it.
My main concern in this hunt was a deer going through the open gate and getting downwind of me. To keep that from happening, I positioned an Ozonics unit on the downwind side of the tree, and hopefully if a deer did go through the open gate, the Ozonics was going to keep me scent free up in the stand.
Back at the Big and Beastie plot, it is time for me to pull another card from the camera. As if it were Christmas, I wait anxiously for the grand reveal. Big Junior obliged and made his appearance, but it was well after dark. This pattern continues for nearly a week. It is obvious that I'm not in the big buck's core. I need to keep moving cameras until I find a place where he is vulnerable, where he is moving closer to daylight. That is my #1 priority now. While waiting to gain more intel on Big Junior's whereabouts, I pull the card from another camera and discover that a great-looking 10-pointer we have been watching for 2 seasons is moving in daylight. With high hopes, I go after him. The first time you hunt a stand is often the best hunt of the season. Unfortunately, this one ended in a bust. The evening was warm and humid. The mosquitoes attacked anything that wasn't covered in a layer of camo. The pieces of the puzzle are coming together for me and my friends. We just need these cold fronts to keep rolling through. The first disappointments of the new season have beat us up and sobered us. Though sufficiently humbled, we remain undaunted. There is still plenty of time. After all, we are chasing November.